Christian anarchist here, and I'm wearing the black with my cross. Anyways, so for this video, I wanted to discuss a issue I came across the other day, and that is that someone that I thought could be taken seriously concerning the Bible apparently can't, because he doesn't even believe something that's flat out taught in there. And for those of you who don't know who I would be talking about, his name is MG42Pillbox. You probably know him if you follow me on the Great Debate Community deal concerning the YouTube hangouts that they show for these shows these days, as well as that one particular video that I made in particular that shows something about him.
Well, why do you constantly disobey the words of Jesus Christ and denounce his words? Isn't that kind of a red flag?
Why do you constantly disobey his words?
No, you do. No, that's what you do every time I'm talking to you. Every time I talk to you, you totally denounce the words of God and his son. I just don't understand why you call yourself a Christian. Hey, why don't you just call yourself a theist?
How about this? Let me hold on a second. I would like to pull up some words that Pillbox has said. No, yes, clown, you don't understand Jack, S-H-I-T. What kind of Christian uses that kind of
now.
So yes, while we have that going on, let us discuss what happened. Apparently we was in a hangout discussing the concept of the flat earth and the circle earth. You know, what does the Bible have to say about this? What does it mean from a Christian perspective? And he kept going about with, you know, just be skeptic of the claims they tell you, you know, sphere earth is Satanist, it's from the Jesuits. But apparently if you do look up some research, it turns out the flat earth is a secular kind of philosophy. At least that's what the creationist sites will tell you. And that actually the early church fathers, including the Greeks in the philosophy days, believed in the concept of a sphere earth way before this kind of stuff even was able to be observed. So we had a good concept of the sphere earth. Now, besides all that, we were discussing that, and then, you know, he says, I don't take it seriously if I'm going to believe that's a sphere earth. I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you believe in the doctrine of predestination? And he flat out said no, that he doesn't believe in predestination. He believes that God knows, and he just lets you do it before. He just lets you do what you want. But the thing is that he says that, I don't know, the thing that bothers me is that he said there's no free will. And I'm going to show him, if he sees this, or if you can show him, I don't know, I don't care. But I'm going to point out, just to anybody in general, that predestination is an actual thing that you can find the word in the Bible. So let's start with Romans chapter 8. In Romans chapter 8, verse 29 through 30, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. Now, that's just one particular instance of it, but there's more to it. I mean, you can look in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 5 and verse 11. We're in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 5, having predestinated us into the adoption of children by Jesus Christ to himself according to the good pleasure of his will. And then you go over to verse 11, in whom we also have obtained an inheritance, referring to salvation, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. Already we have 3 instances there, and then there's other instances that don't even have to use the word predestinate, but we know good well what it's referring to. Now, the Greek word for the term predestinate in its original language is the term plalizo, and plalizo means the following from the Thayer's Greek lexicon: to predetermine, decide beforehand. In the New Testament, it's referring to God decreeing from eternity, and to foreordain and appoint beforehand. So basically, God decides right before anything happens how it's going to go down, how it's going to lay down, because God is that powerful and God's that all-knowing. that he's able to decide beforehand. So that's all I'm pointing out, is that it is biblical, the doctrine of predestination, and to deny that from any perspective, whether it's to deny the Calvinist or the Arminian perspective, or even what some would consider the open theist perspective, and not even acknowledge predestination. I don't think you read the Bible. I don't think you take it literally at all. You might say the same of me. Who knows? But if you're not going to take that literal, I don't get it. That's an essential. That's referring to how God chooses. That's referring to how God saves people. He chooses us because he is under no obligation, but he chooses who he wants to save, even though we all deserve condemnation, even though we all deserve hell. So, I don't know, just something to think about. Anyways, until then, this has been the Christian Anarchist with scripture and all that. So until then, Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you, because I wish that upon you.
Subscribe to this channel. You know why? Because he's the cream of the crop. If you're the cream, you gotta subscribe. Dig it!